Welcome everyone, I'm Jodi. Welcome to Krannert Art Museum. Welcome to my living room. In the future, I think we're going to be doing this in the galleries at the museum. I'll be the only one. Unfortunately, we still have to be socially distanced, but at least you'll be able to see some of the artwork. But for now, here we are. Welcome. I'm wearing one of my favorite props, which is a scarf. So you can have a scarf or a strap. A couple of blocks can be nice, and a blanket, something to sit on, something for Shavasana, especially as we move into the colder weather, and then a bolster as well. So, all that being said, welcome, and I hope you're doing well. I do miss seeing you, and we'll get started on our backs. So, arriving here on the back, you can use a blanket. You can have this under the chest, under the spine, supporting you as you relax back. That allows for some opening in the chest. The head can come to the ground or supported on the support of the blanket. Arms to the sides. Arms to the sides. You can keep your knees bent here or lengthen through the legs. You can play with either. Relaxing through the chest, relaxing through the arms. Making any adjustments that you need to be comfortable, to be supported. Beginning to breathe, breathing with awareness, breathing with an expanded breath. You can start to breathe in what you want to receive from this practice, thinking about your intention. Breathing out any obstacles to that intention, any heaviness, any burdens in the heart or the mind. Inhale, receiving. Exhale, releasing. A few more breaths just like that on your own. And keeping this connection to your breath, to yourself throughout your practice today. As you begin to create some movement in the body, fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. Maybe full body stretch, depending on the supports that you have underneath you. Whatever feels good. And breathing, you can sigh as you breathe in through the nose and then open the mouth, exhale. Finding release with the breath. And starting to carefully dismount off any of your supports. Just rolling to either side. And then as you roll back onto your back, just making sure that the props are off to the side. So arriving here flat on the back, you can bend the knees, hugging them into the chest, taking a little rock from side to side. Back through center, a hand to each knee or shin, and open up the inner legs. Heels heavy, relax through the chest and shoulders, the head heavy. One more breath. And starting to press the knees closer together. You can start to extend the left leg long, keeping the right knee hugged in. You can start to roll through the right ankle in both directions. Keeping the left hand at the left hip, starting to open up the right hip by circling that right knee in space. You can do it independently or use the hand and the arm strength to assist. Really thinking about full range of motion here. Start to circle in the opposite direction. Coming back through center, and then extend the foot skyward. You can interlace fingers behind the thigh, just starting to flex and point through that foot. You can keep the knee soft. Maybe rolling at the ankle. In both directions. Adding stillness as you spread through the toes. Relaxing the toes, bend the knee, taking hold of the right leg with the left hand and spiral and twist over to the left side. Extend the right arm out to the side. And just breathing here. We're just beginning the practice, still warming the body. Feel expanded in the heart, expanded in the shoulder. You can always switch up the arm position. It does make a difference when muscles are expanded and stretched. So exploring that. One more breath. Take your time rocking back onto the back, press the palms alongside the hips, extend the legs skyward, descend the leg down slowly to the count of 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Full body stretch once you arrive, arms long, legs long, spreading fingers, spreading toes. Breathing fully into the body. And again, you can hug the knees into the chest, starting to independently circle knees out to the sides, closer together, back together, in towards the chest and out again. One more time in this direction. And start to circle in the opposite direction. Back through center, sending the right leg long, hugging the left knee into the chest. And from here, again, you can circle through the left ankle. In both directions. Bring the right hand to the right hip, keep it grounded as you start to circle through the left knee. Notice any differences between the side. Let's start to circle in the opposite direction. Drawing the knee in towards the chest. Once again, interlace the fingers behind the thigh, lifting that foot skyward, starting to flex and point through the foot. Gonna roll at the ankle. In both directions once again. Spread the toes. And then bending the knee, taking hold of the knee with the right hand, twisting over to the right, opening up the left arm, gazing over towards the left, really finding expansion through that entire left shoulder, breathing to the left ribs, softening in the face. can play with the placement of that left arm. See what you need on this side. One more breath. Starting to rock it back onto the back. Press the palms alongside the hips, draw that foot skyward, and then slowly descend down to the count of 10, 9, keep the leg engaged, 8, 7, keep breathing, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Once the heel rests down, taking a nice full body stretch here. And starting to drape the right ankle on top of the left, taking hold of the right wrist with the left hand and pivoting over to the left corners of the mat. So making a little banana shape with the body, relaxing as much as you're able into the shoulders, especially on that right side. It's going to be a nice opening for the outer right hip. Just a few deep breaths here. One more breath. And take your time releasing, unwinding. As you arrive back through center, again, full body stretch. And then over to the other side. So the left ankle on top of the right, taking hold of the left wrist with the right hand, pivoting the ends of the body over to that right side, right corners of the mat. Breathe. You can soften the knees as much as you need to. Connect to the breath. One more breath. Take your time releasing and arriving, coming back through your center, again, full body stretch. Bending knees, planting the feet, arms down alongside the body, just tucking the tailbone towards the heels, pressing low back into the earth, and then soften, getting that natural curvature back in the low spine, and then pressing the low back in, maybe peeling more of the pelvis away from the earth, and then relaxing back down. Maybe that natural curvature, and then pressing, lifting pelvis, maybe more of the low spine. Releasing, coming back, softening any effort in the body. Tucking the tailbone, lifting more of the spine away from the earth, maybe more mid-spine. And then slowly relaxing back down. The next time you lift, just be on the shoulders. So feet and shoulders, primarily that grounding force in this pose. Keep pressing into the feet, keep engaging the glutes, the hamstrings, so that tension in the body. Lifting a little bit higher, one more inhalation, and then exhale, soften back down. Taking your time. Tailbone meets the mat very last. And then press the palms kind of out to a T alongside the body, a little bit more of an angle depending on what you need. The inner legs squeeze together, and we're going to do a little bit of twisting core from side to side. So inhale here. And as you exhale over to the right, the legs don't touch down. Think about using the side body muscles to draw the legs back through center. Squeeze the inner legs together, keep that engagement. Exhale over to the left. Inhale back through center. Exhale right. Squeeze the legs together. Engage the left side body. Squeeze back through center. Over to the right. left, right side body engaged. Sorry for the confusion. And then one more time from side to side. Still pressing the low back into the earth as you come back through your center. Hugging knees into the chest. It's your choice. You can roll to either side, or you can start to rock forward and back along the length of the spine, coming up to seated. So from here, just a comfortable cross-legged seated position. You can start to press the left palm alongside the left hip, and then inhale the right arm up and then over. Pausing for a breath, extending through that side body. Finding alignment in the spine once again. The right palm grounds, inhale the left arm up and then over. And pausing for a breath. Back through center. One more time from side to side. Left palm grounds, right arm lifts. Up and over. Breathing here. Knees relaxed to the earth, pelvis rooted down. Back through center. Sit bones grounding evenly. Inhale the left arm up and over. Left knee heavy, left hip heavy. One more breath. And then arriving, coming back through your center. From here, just circling through the spine. See if you can bring a little bit more awareness into the ribs. Keeping the awareness of the breath. Circling in the opposite direction. As you arrive, coming back through your center, take some rolls through shoulders, up, back, and down. One more time, rolling through shoulders, up, back, and down. Plant the palms alongside the hips, bend the knees, plant the feet. And they can be wide here as you start to just shift the knees a little from side to side, massaging into the glutes. Just a little bit of movement, and then you can start to increase those movements. Maybe releasing the knees more towards the earth, opening up again, more through the spine, more through the ribs. Go ahead and release the knees over to the right side. Tucking the left shin underneath you, if that's available to you. And keeping that hold on the shin, relax the right arm and start to move the weight of the head and the torso over to the right. And with that slight tension, you've created a good kind of tension. You should feel an increase of stretch in the neck. And use that as you breathe, maybe some movement of the head. You can rock back and forth, exploring different parts of the neck. Turning the head, gazing down, chin more towards the collarbone, pausing here. Again, it might feel good to create a little bit of movement, maybe circling the head, like you're tracing circles with the nose in space. Circling in the opposite direction. Finding stillness, finding a sweet spot, pausing, breathing into that space. One more breath. And then just starting to extend that left leg out. And from here, pointing and flexing through the foot. Finding the foot in flexion, engaging through the quad. You can watch the kneecap lift, engage the core. Think about hinging forward at the hips. Just getting a gentle stretch in the hamstrings. And breathe. You close the eyes or soften the gaze. Just 3 more breaths here. Keeping that engagement of the quad, engagement of the core. Keep reaching the spine tall. If you want more of a stretch in the back of the leg, flex the foot more. You can keep the knees soft even as you do that. Cat fight. Start to walk the hands, the heart, the torso to the inner edge of the outstretched leg. Start to walk the hands, heart, and torso towards the bent knee. Arriving in a twist, you can press tall through the spine, propping the right hand alongside the hip. Left hand pressing into the thigh, gazing over the right shoulder. One more breath. Keeping the slight twist, plant the palms on the outer edge of that right thigh. Start to curl the left toes under, coming into a down dog. Take your time to arrive here. You can pedal out through the feet. You can bend knees, lift legs, or like me, taking off more layers as we go, as you warm the body. So a few breaths here. One more breath. Bend the knees. Take your time. You can cross at the ankles if that feels safe for you. Rolling back over the shins, coming back through seated. Simply bending the knees, planting the feet, windshield wipering the legs. Maybe noticing the side that you did is a little more open than the side that still needs a little attention. This hip rotator is still in need of some warming. Release the knees over to that left side. Again, you can tuck the right shin under, keeping hold of the right shin. Relax the left arm. Bow the weight of the body to the left. The weight of the head. Breathing. The right shoulder relaxing. Creating movement of the head forward and back. Change the head position, gazing down, chin more towards the collarbone again. An invitation to stay, or maybe it feels good to explore some movement, circling the nose in space. And start with small circles and notice, can they increase over time as the body begins to open? You can start to circle in the opposite direction. Finding a sweet spot, breathing there. Creating space with the breath. One more breath. Aligning the neck with the rest of the spine. Take your time. Positions can be tricky. They can be meaningful if we allow them to be, so start to extend through the right leg. Keep bending through that left knee. A moment here, flexing and pointing through the foot. So just awareness of that relationship. As we flex the foot, maybe feeling that more into the ankle, more into the calf, maybe into the hamstring, depending on how tight the body is. And also the pointing, what's going on with the top of the foot, top of the shin. And then finding stillness, but engage the quad, watch the kneecap lift, engage the core, and then think about reaching the heart towards the ankle as you breathe. Keeping the left shin relaxed, left hip heavy. Keep engaging that right quad. Lifting and lengthening the spine out of the hips. 3 breaths, maybe closing the eyes. And stay low to the ground, hands to the inner edge of the outstretched leg. Walk the hands, heart and torso towards the bent knee. Take your time, lots happening in the low back. We're twisting and spiraling over to the left, arriving, maybe tenting the left fingers or grounding the palm to the earth, hand to the thigh. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, rotate, gazing over the shoulder. And breathe. And one more breath. Keeping this slight twist, just planting the palms. You can start to curl the right toes under. Take your time coming into your down dog. Again, you can even out here, pedaling through feet, spreading toes, lifting legs, bending knees. Finding stillness, one more breath. And then slowly with control, release knees to the earth, inner big toes touch, round the spine, sink the hips back to the heels, coming into your child's pose. Forehead to the earth if that's available to you. Here. Starting to press palms under the shoulders, come up to a tabletop position. You can spread through the fingers. A little bit of a wag of the tailbone from side to side. Starting to increase the movement in the rest of the spine. Bring the gaze over the left shoulder, maybe catching a glimpse of the left hip, and then back through center. Gazing over the right shoulder, catching a glimpse of the right hip. And so on. Inhale through center, exhale, moving the spine. Move the hips. A slow, controlled movement from side to side. One more time over that right shoulder. Back through center, round the spine. Start to rock forward and back. Pressing into fingertips, pressing into knuckles. And start to circle the hips clockwise or counterclockwise. Circling in the opposite direction. Arriving back through center, curl the toes under, walk the hands back, lift the knees. Bring the backs of the hands to the earth for a moment and lengthen through the arms. So pressing as much as possible into the backs of the hands, just creating a little counter stretch for that weight bearing we just did. And then relax through the elbows, relax through the spine, the head is heavy. One deep breath here. And starting to walk the hands out, back to tabletop position. And from here, you can start to lift the left knee. The foot is skyward and then circling out to the side. Draw the knee back in and then lift the foot skyward. This is twice. Let's do one more time in this direction. It's similar to what we did on our backs. And then circling in the opposite direction. A little more challenging from tabletop. Once, twice, one last time, and then big circle. Kitty wants me to play fetch. Then we're going to do the other side. So spread through the fingers, start to circle the right hip. 1, 2, one last time in this direction. Full range of motion. Just breathe through the challenge. This should feel challenging, and then circle in the opposite direction. One last time. Beautiful. From here, starting to crisscross at the ankles. So draw the right knee on top of the left and spread the feet out as much as possible. Sink the hips back. Maybe even coming through seated. Sit the hip bones down evenly. Just a nice stretch through that outer right hip. Can bring the spine tall. You've got options here. Lengthening in the spine, maybe pressing into the earth alongside the hips, or hinging forward over the knees. Just 3 deep breaths here. So we're just stretching those muscles that we just worked. And then a fun transition just to get to the other side. So you can start to spiral over to that left side. Start to pivot, circle around to the back of the mat, circle around to that left foot. Left knee is going to be on top. And now you've just landed in the same position with the opposite hip getting the stretch. So really trying to root down through that left hip bone and breathe. One more deep breath here. So spinning around to the right side. Again, you're going to lift up on the feet, pivot, and then just landing in a forward fold, feet as wide as the mat. Knees can be soft, hinging at your hips. You can bend one knee, then the other. You can sway the torso or sway the head. Finding this inversion, finding what you need here. One more breath. And starting to walk the hands out and releasing these to the earth. So we can find our blanket if you need more cushion for your knees, and then a couple blocks, or even a chair will work. So you can have blocks at the highest height at the top of the mat. Coming to standing on your shins, press the hips forward, engage the glutes, tall spine. And keeping the weight into the right side. Shifting the left foot forward, engage through the right glute and press the hips forward. Tuck the tailbone. You can find the blocks. And breathe. Think about sinking the right shin into the earth. So pressing the right shin to the earth, keep the right glute active. One more breath here. Starting to lengthen through that left leg, flexing through the left foot. Hinging forward at the hips. And then rebending the knee, replanting the foot. Curl the back toes under, lifting the back knee. And keeping that glute engaged. Maybe rocking a little back and forth here. Keeping the hips sinking low, keeping that right butt engaged. One more breath. You can bring the blocks to the inner edge of the leg. Start to pivot at the heel, coming into a wide-legged forward fold. It's nice to give the wrists a break. Sometimes it's nice to just relax the forearms onto the blocks or onto the earth. One more breath. Palms to the earth. Start to pivot the toes in the same direction we just were, framing that left foot, sweeping the left foot back. We're in plank, shifting forward, inhale to prepare. Exhale, chaturanga, maybe knees to the earth. Inhale, your cobra. And then exhale, we're just going to come to seated on shins. Standing on shins. Blocks at the highest height. Shifting the weight over to the left and step the right foot forward. Engage the left glute. Really stamping the left top of the foot into the earth, shifting the hips forward and down. That might mean having to wiggle the right toes forward. You can reach for the blocks. And breathe, keeping that engagement. Left glute. Left shin pressing into the earth. Breathe here. Breathe through the challenge of staying in discomfort. Should be no pain, no sharpness, but we're working. One more breath. Starting to lengthen through that right leg, flexing through the foot. Can engage the right quad. Core is active. You can think about lifting the tailbone up and back behind you. Arching the back without straining the neck. One more breath. You're bending the knee, replanting the foot, curl the back toes under, lifting the back leg, and again, we're still engaging that left glute. You can shift forward and back a little bit here. Finding stillness. Breathe. One more breath. And this time, this blocks off to the side, framing that front foot, sweeping it back. You can stay here or come into a side plank on the left side. So stacking the legs or the right foot in front of the left leg, or you can even release that left shin to the earth. So we've got some options in our side plank. So one more breath. Coming back through plank, and then over to the right side. So again, you can stack the legs like you were in Tadasana and you just fell over. You can bring that left foot in front, or you can release that right shin to the ground. Either way, working this pose, feeling strong and stable. One more breath. Back through plank. Inhale, shifting forward, maybe onto the knees. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, cobra. We want back body strength. And then exhale, coming into your down dog. And from here, move props off to the side, walk the hands back to the feet, forward fold. Starting to bend the knees, coming back into that squatted position. The backs of the hands can come to the earth as you round and bow, softening forward. Beautiful grounding shape. Deep breath. And fingertips to the earth. Then fingers facing forward on that long edge of the mat, stepping long through the body. And again, maybe forearms to the earth, depending on what's available to you. Maybe you need props here. 3 deep breaths, just calming the nervous system. Palms to the earth, pressing the spine parallel to the earth. You can heel to toe the feet a little closer together. And start walking hands, heart, and torso towards either leg, sweeping that leg back, knees to the earth, round the spine, landing in your child's pose. One more breath here. And press the palms under the shoulders. Coming through seated on shins, it's just for a moment, just so you can shift the hips to one side, sweeping the legs out in front, making sure there's plenty of room back behind you. So you can use core strength, bend the knees, plant the feet, pressing the palms skyward, using that core, using those opposing energies. Press the palms, core is active as you slowly ground the back body. Arriving here, and take a full body stretch, arms long, legs long. Spread fingers, spread toes. A moment just to bring awareness into the body, the impact of the practice on the body, on the mind. Start to bend one knee, then the other. You can hug knees into the chest, or maybe coming into a happy baby. So anything that you need to finish out your practice. Any shapes, any sensations, any poses. And then transitioning into your final resting pose. So the legs can go long once again, maybe with support under the knees. Arms alongside the body, space between ears and shoulders. Closing the eyes and taking rest. Begin to deepen your breath. As you reawaken your body with movement and fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Stretch the arms overhead. Another full body stretch. Maybe a cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Bending one knee, then the other, let the feet plant. Take your time, rolling gently to either side, curling into a fetal position, the head supported. Recalling your intention, taking that with you, or maybe something new. What do you need now as you reemerge back into your life? With closed eyes or a soft gaze, take your time pressing up to seated, rounded spine, a heavy head. Rooting down through sit bones. Once you arrive, grow the spine tall. Open the heart as you bring hands to the heart. A moment to acknowledge this practice with a grateful heart. Namaste. Thank you. I'll see you next week.